and change the media narrative towards basic American values. And there was a coordinated effort to thwart the Tea Party. And it started with the government stating through Janet Napolitano that the Tea Party was going to be a potentially violent threat, and the media jumped on that report to start comparing the Tea Party to Timothy McVeigh and the Michigan militia and all that type of stuff. It never came to fruition. It never came to fruition, but the narrative still holds. We remember the report. We remember 2.5 years of the Tea Party being attacked mercilessly and held to an impossible standard. When we cleaned up after ourselves, it still wasn't good enough at our Tea Parties. So when the Tea Party persevered and was successful in 2010, what ended up happening is these people were like, well, we could go the Dick Morris triangulation route, or we can double down. And the Occupy movement is the doubling down of the radical left. There is, after the election cycle, the DLC, the former moderate ring of the Democratic Party, went, in essence, it went defunct. I think it went bankrupt. I don't know what happens to an institution like that, but there was a report right after the election, the exact moment you think that some reasonable Democrats would come forward and say, what the hell has happened to our party? You found out that all that was left was the hard left of the Democratic Party, and this is what they created. You saw a preview of it in Wisconsin. You saw a preview of it when you saw certain unions showing up at Tea Parties, throwing eggs, being violent, and the media ignoring it. But this is the granddaddy. This is the rose parade of the left's attempt to take on the rise of the American conservative movement and standing up for what it believes in. In 2011, the mainstream media was involved in the manufacturing of this event. You saw Dylan Radigan there. They helped to manufacture an intentionally vague movement that the young people that would join it, that would make it sexy, they intentionally made it vague so that people would ascribe to it and project onto it what they wanted to be to grow the movement. But then the people behind the scenes, the puppet masters, the Democratic Party, Barack Obama, are directly tied to this movement. And when immediately they manifested behaviors that the Tea Party was warned that they would exhibit, the mainstream media ignored it, and at the end of the year they called it, Time magazine called Occupy, the story of the year. The reason why we're putting this group together is to tell what the true story is behind the story of the year. I want to talk about who's sitting to my right here and why they're so important to this. God bless the right-leaning media and the right-leaning conservative media that's trying to stand up to thugs like Dylan Radigan and thugs like Matt Taibbi, who helped coordinate before the allegedly grassroots Occupy movement started. I'm glad that there are people out there from a somewhat detached standpoint reporting on what they're seeing and videotaping the misbehavior, recording that there's not just multiple rapes at Zuccotti and other places and drug overdoses and robberies and murders and deaths. Mainstream media are good for the new media and conservatives for going out there and reporting what the mainstream media intentionally is not showing you.